Copper wire thieves continue wreaking havoc on central Mississippi's interstate lighting system, and the state's Department of Transportation continues to be slow to address the issue.
Meanwhile, the absence of light along certain parts of our interstates is putting drivers at risk every night, something even MDOT's commissioner acknowledges.
Our Brendan Hall joins us now with this 3 on Your Side investigation, Still Driving in the Dark.
This is now our second investigation into copper wire theft. The first was in October of 2022, and since then, the problem has only gotten worse. If it weren't for the hazards on WLBT's news cruiser or the headlights from oncoming traffic, this Woodrow Wilson Avenue exit sign would hardly be visible. Equally hard to see are certain exit ramps along interstates throughout the capital city, which may have contributed to the close call my photographer and I had when shooting video of people driving in the dark. Police never responded to this situation because the driver was able to safely get back on the interstate without having to call 911. But more serious calls for help are made every single day. Documents obtained by 3 on Your Side show every car crash the Department of Public Safety responded to in the most recent years available, 2020 and 2021. Within those documents are specific details for each crash, such as the weather conditions, contributing circumstances, and lighting. Looking at those 2 years, DPS responded to 181 car crashes along interstates in Hinds County when conditions were clear, no contributing circumstances existed, and the lighting was said to have been dark, not lighted. Of those near 200 accidents, 7 people lost their lives. You mentioned the risk drivers run into when they're in these patches of darkness. When these collisions and crashes and even fatalities happen, do you as MDOT commissioner feel at all liable because of the lights that are out?
I would not say we feel liable. We certainly feel a sense of concern and caring for those individuals who are misfortunate. We have not had any indication that a fatality or an accident has occurred where we were responsible because we had not done something.
One thing MDOT does not appear to be doing is fixing interstate lights that have been hit by vandals and keeping them on. WLBT reported on the issue in the fall of 2022 when 164 light poles and underpass lights were in need of repair due to copper wire theft in Hinds County, according to MDOT's records. Over a year later, that number has increased to 181, and the locations of the outages have hardly changed. All of them appear to fall within the state's most populous city, the capital city.
We are paying the light bill, and we are maintaining those lights, and that's what we're doing here in the city of Jackson. It just so happened that the city of Jackson has brought on another element, and not brought on it because it wanted to. It just exists, and that is the thievery. Department of Transportation officials have explained in the past that copper has a good deal of value to it, and thieves know it. Oftentimes, crooks will hook up their cars to poles, pull them out of the ground, steal the copper wiring inside, and find a scrap metal buyer to sell it to. Commissioner Willie Simmons admits the issue puts drivers at risk when they go through these areas of darkness along the interstate. It's a risk 3 on Your Side asked Kenyatta Hairston about, an optometrist at Envision Eye Care and Boutique in Jackson.
At night, certainly our pupils dilate, which brings more light into our eyes, which makes it more difficult to see because of glare or halos. And so as you're driving, the lights from the headlights become almost, I don't want to say blinding, but it's just more difficult to see because you're trying to now navigate on a dark piece of the highway, and then you have these lights shining at you. So anatomically, it is affecting how you see just based on how our eyes react to light.
The effect the absence of light has on a driver's eyes is perhaps one only people in the eye care profession think about. But it's certainly one many have felt as they drive along interstates that run through Jackson, including resident Dean Julius.
When it's dark, it's incredibly hard to see animals until you're close or within beam shot of your headlights. And I would also say just, with the increase in the homeless population in Jackson, and, if you've been here, as long as I have, you've just noticed that there are people crossing the interstate more frequently. And with lighting out, it's incredibly hard to see those people, and it just makes it much easier for tragedy to happen.
As our initial investigation into copper wire theft pointed out, other states have been fighting back against thieves for years now to prevent the potential tragedies Julius spoke of. In Missouri, Department of Transportation officials started bolting these metal boxes to the bottom of some light poles, and in some areas they placed wiring overhead instead of underground. Then, in Indiana, officials replaced the copper with metals that aren't as attractive to thieves, such as aluminum, and increased patrols in areas where thieves would often strike. But here in Mississippi, Commissioner Simmons says we're still months away from any preventative measures being put in place. Just recently, MDOT awarded a contract to Garver Engineering, a firm that's tasked with drafting recommendations, plans of action, and cost estimates for a better lighting system.
We're asking them to take a look at it and study it to give us a plan on how we can enhance the system from a safety point of view, also from an energy saving point of view, and also how we can protect it from the thieves.
Simmons estimates the study won't be completed till the fall, and at that point, MDOT will move toward putting a contract in place that accomplishes the firm's recommendations. It not only makes things harder on thieves, but possibly more dangerous too.
We'll probably increase the voltage when we do that. The purpose of that is not to try and do harm to anyone, but it is to make sure that individuals understand that if they tamper with it, they run the risk of doing harm to themselves. So hopefully that will help slow that process down.
The projected timeline is unwelcome news for some residents, including Jennifer Welch, who spoke with WLBT in our first investigation into copper wire theft.
It's just disappointing that there's not already a resolution. I understand that there's a lot of investigation that has to go in before significant capital is involved in improving a system, but we were talking about this 12 months ago for the fact that we're still at this planning and investigation area of this project and not at the area where we're ready to implement is concerning.
MDOT has made repairs to some areas that have been hit by vandals, only to have the lighting system stripped of its copper wire in a matter of months. But again, preventative measures do exist and have been in place in some states for years now. Brendan Hall, 3 on your side.